The gospel of a sovereign king, this is why the angels sing. The joy of the Lord, it's my strength.
We're Greg and Michelle Ramsey. We're from Freedom Biker Church, Greenville, South Carolina. And we're up here at the Cove for our first ever network retreat, church retreat. And we've had pastors training, and our leadership teams will be going through some training tomorrow and all. It's a great atmosphere. You feel the peace of God since you pull on the property, and it's just a peaceful getaway. We really enjoyed it so far. I served as a pastor of a mainstream church, a little traditional country church, for 7 years. And during that time, one of our members purchased a motorcycle, but he couldn't ride it, and he had learned that I used to ride. So he asked me to ride the bike for him because it needed to be rode. Then he offered to sell it to me, and I wouldn't buy it, so he gave it to me. And during that time, we got involved with a Christian motorcycle ministry. And as we were doing the little events with them, we would be able to talk a lot of bikers and motorcyclists and tell them about the Lord, but there was really no place for them to go to be discipled, to grow in their faith. And the Lord started speaking to my heart about that, and so I just Googled biker churches, and there were none around where we were at. And I found a link to a church down towards Columbia way, and they had a link to Freedom Biker Church. And I clicked on that link, and I saw a video of Mike and Charlene Beasley of Freedom Biker Church, and I said, that is so cool. That's what the vision I would have of a biker church. So I just emailed Mike. I said, you guys get it. You guys rock. I mean, I'm praying for y'all. And a few days later, Mike calls me up at the church, and he says he appreciated the email, and he said, we've been praying for God to raise somebody up in South Carolina and plant a biker church. Well, I didn't think God was calling me to do that. I said, well, I'm praying for you that you find the right man. And I come home and told Michelle, and she didn't say anything to me for a while, but God wouldn't leave me alone with it. And then finally one night, I come home from being at the hospital with one of our members, had surgery. And the Lord asked me a question at the hospital. He said, do you trust me enough to step out to do this? Because I'm stepping out from a salary and, a comfortable salary and all, into nothing pretty much at first to do this. And I was ashamed. I didn't know what to tell him. And so I got home and I told Michelle, I said, we need to talk. So we went into the study and we sat on the floor, and I said, I believe God's calling us to step out in faith and resign our church and plant a biker church. And she just smiled, which really confused me because, she's always the kind of person that needs to know what's going to happen, if we're going to be taken care of and all like that. And she says, well, the Lord told me that a week ago. 2 weeks ago, and I just waited for him to tell you. And so we covenanted in prayer that night that we were going to step out and do this. And that was a Monday. Wednesday night, I tendered my resignation effective that Sunday. Showed a video of what God's called us to do. Showed them the video of Mike and Charlene when they were interviewed by the North Carolina Baptist Convention. And Sunday morning after service, it was our last Sunday there. And the very next Sunday was Mother's Day 2 years ago, and we met with 9 people in a 2-room cabin, and we're running into about 100 now Sunday morning.
Not a church.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a church. It looks more like a shop. And that's what we refer to the meeting room as, a shop. We have just hardback chairs set up and a highway going down to the stage, like the highway to heaven. And it's an old cotton mill clothing store is what it used to be. And so we leased that building, and this side's our shop, and over here is our roadhouses where we eat, have our meals and whatever. And
we have black and orange.
yeah, everything, Harley,
it's a little rougher edge.
Harley color, which, I'm a big Harley fan, but nothing against Metro. I just prefer a Harley. But we have motorcycle decals over the wall. We have tools on the walls, bike parts. And, guys, the biker comes in, they're comfortable. We don't have a piano. We don't have an organ. We have what you see here set up. We have drums, electric guitars, microphones, and we try to be real to bikers to make them feel, number one, that they're welcome and they're loved. Yeah. And it works. Like I said, we start off with 9. We're running over 100 now. So
the awesome thing is that we weren't truly ourselves in the traditional church setting. We were trying to fit that mold, And it was like Mike has described, it was like a square peg trying to fit in a round hole. You know, we just were trying to make it work, and we weren't, deep down inside, weren't happy, but we were serving. And
Yeah, God would use us where we were at.
Right.
But He had greater plans for us.
building, and when he brought us out, it was like, now you can be who I made you to be. You know, He has a purpose for each of us, and now we're living His purpose, and it is so awesome. But,
Bruce,
yes.
a gentleman in our church, last April, one of our folks who works with our youth and plays in a band, he is the chaplain for the sheriff's department. He comes to me one Sunday morning and he said, there was an accident last night. A lady was in the back of a pickup, and the pickup wrecked, turned over, and she was killed. And her husband is a biker. And he says, I'm going to go out and see him today. And I said, well, let me know. We already had a ride scheduled. We ride every Sunday after worship. It's part of our mission. We're out in the mission field every Sunday. And the following Monday, he tracked me down. He said, you've got to go with me to meet this guy. So I rode out there with him, and sure enough, he's a crusty old biker. Looks like a pirate, you know. And my buddy Billy said, this is our pastor. This is Preacher Greg. And I never forget what he said. He said, you're just like me. And we talked a little bit, and that, I think it was that Thursday or Friday, they had the memorial service for his wife, and I shared with the church what was going on, and several of us rode out there, didn't know who Bruce was, and we rode out there to support him, and we were all in our leathers, and rode up on our bikes, and
Touched it.
we brought him back to the church where we meet, and just hung out. We didn't feel like he needed to be alone, and we just hung out when the band played, and we just had a good time. And he's been with us ever since. Matter of fact, I had the privilege of baptizing him into the Lord, into the family of God last July. And Bruce, he loves God, he loves freedom, and he loves to ride. And his bike, he'll pull up at a convenience store and on his bike and go in and get a cup of coffee. He'll come out and stand by his bike or sit down and just drink his coffee. Somebody walked by and said, that's a nice bike. And he said, it's on now. He'll tell him about the church and about the Lord.
And the thing is that situation that killed his wife was alcohol and just a rough night of it, is what the resulted in that. And he'll tell you that, years ago, he would have just as soon shot you than to listen to you, and now he's out there waiting for people to just say, nice bike, and he's telling them about the Lord. That is God changing lives through Freedom Bible Church.
And we have several, but Bruce just stands out because of his personality. He is kind of like bloomed at Freedom. Everybody loves Bruce, and his nickname is Loose Bruce, and that name was given to him by an outlaw motorcycle club in Florida he used to run with in Florida years ago. That's just his personality. He's just loose. He's happy.
Everybody else, we kept hearing people saying, I just didn't fit in anywhere, whether it be they did go to church and then they didn't, or they'd never been in churches because they didn't feel like they would or did fit in. And so that was our first motto, was where
It's actually
misfits,
on your shirt.
where misfits fit in. And that's the purpose for that, because we kept hearing that. And the wild thing is that it was like God saw these black sheep, but they were His sheep, and He needed a shepherd to gather them and bring them in to the fold and take care of them, and guide them. And He called, and we answered, and Greg answered, and I'm with him, and now we're meeting those individual souls that God had in mind to plant Freedom Bible Church. It's awesome. God awesome, It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's been an awesome ride, and we're just beginning. We're not even 2 years old yet. And I don't see myself doing anything else than this. This is where I need to be. I'm in my mold, I guess you could say, where God had always wanted me. In Jeremiah, Bible says, the Lord says, before you were in the womb, I knew you. Not, before I formed you, I knew you, and that's how God is with me. He knew that I was a rebel,
Yeah.
and use
me
that
too.
personality and my love for riding, motorcycles and the biker lifestyle to reach bikers for Christ. And what we do, we go out and we hang out with them, we build relationships, and we lead them to Jesus, and we bring them back and we disciple them and send them back out in the biker community.
The thing is, they're hungry.
Yes, they are.
They're not like some of the others that we've been in before. These people are hungry and they want to know more about God. They want to know how to know Him more.
Well, they're at church because they want to be, not
They
because they feel like they
do.
have to be, because they
Yeah.
want to be. If old bikers there on Sunday morning, it's because they want to be there on
Wants to be
Sunday
there.
morning.
It's best to go into the places where they're at,
Mhm.
because the regular status of doing things is to, hey, we're doing this, y'all come on. Well, bikers are not going to come unless we offered free beer,
And we're
and
not
we're not
doing
going to
that.
do that. So we have to go where they're at, where they're drinking probably, and we have to go, we don't drink, but we have to go and be real and be loving and be available, and that's how we gather them.
We don't condemn. We don't condone what we don't condemn.
Yeah.
We just hang out
Let
with
the
them.
Lord do that
I
stuff.
tell our folks at Freedom Greenville, let folks see Jesus before they even hear one word out of your mouth.
And when people learn the love of God and they're changed, those habits start melting away.
Mhm.
We don't have to tell them.
I guess the most hostile environment we go into now is around folks who don't agree with what we're doing as far as other Christians. They're not always real friendly towards us. They think we've gone to the dark side. We've lost our
In a sense,
salvation.
we have, but we've gone to rescue.
But I look at it, we are reaching people that they couldn't or wouldn't reach.
Yeah.
And the church Freedom at Greenville on Sunday morning speaks for itself. Parking lot's full of bikes and cars. We got a lot of folks that don't ride yet that are with us.
It's all about the love.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's like Woodstock without the drugs.
Well, and Jesus says, if the Son of Man be lifted up, He'll draw all men unto Him, and that's what we do. We lift Christ up. We don't do it with a Hammond organ or a grand piano. We do it with drums, electric guitars. But the way that we deliver the message may have changed. The methods have changed, but the message is always has not
Yes.
changed. It's the same. Jesus Christ is the only way,
Yeah.
truth, and life.
He loves us.
No matter what. Romans 8 loves us no matter what. I was here 7-8 years ago for evangelism school when I was a suit and tie preacher, and come back again as a biker. It's more sweeter now than it was then, and I've always been an admirer of Dr. Graham. He's one of my pulpit heroes. I just love his books, and so I was hoping to have met him when we were here for evangelism school, but Miss Ruth was very ill then, and he wouldn't leave her, and so we didn't get to meet him. But I appreciate all the work he's done down through the years. It's been an awesome ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the biker community, it's not always the destination, but the ride to get there. Our destination, of course, is glory,
Yeah.
but the ride between now and then, man, it's
Abundant
full of
life.
it's full of beauty and
Excitement.
excitement and
Just trust God. That's all you have to do.
that's right.
Exceedingly abundantly.
Have faith.
Yep.
And we have, and I'll say this and I'll shut up. At Freedom Greenville, every time we end the service, I always say, ride free, ride safe, ride for Christ's sake.